Hello friends, this is Rob and I'm here to show you some of the things that I use the Revolution Lightboard for to make videos for some of my classes. One of the courses that I have made videos, me and one of our CFP, Scott Grau, a good friend of mine from even my Concordia, Nebraska and University of Nebraska days, we both have been teaching the statistics course for well over 10 years, Scott probably over 20. And so one of the things that when students miss class, it's really hard to have them just read a PowerPoint and figure out what we did. And so we created these videos based on active classroom participation. And of course, now it's been added to the online section of Math 110. And so let me show you how I utilize it. Well, some of you are familiar with the standard normal curve. And so what we want to do is to be able to help students figure out how we utilize the standard normal table given a certain distribution. And so if we have a mean, let's say of 200, and let's say we have a standard deviation of 50, so mu equals 200 and sigma equals 50, we know that we can add and subtract one standard deviation to be able to give us values on the table, so on and so forth. Well, to convert to the standard normal distribution or the z distribution, we need to be able to use the z-score. And so z equals whatever x value we are interested in minus mu all over the standard deviation. Now, I am sure that you are impressed that I can write backwards. Well, the beauty of this board is, obviously, I'm writing normally, but the computer reflects it so it looks like I'm writing normally. And so that's one of the powers. I'm standing behind the glass. I've got two monitors in front of me with the camera in between. And so I can pull things from the top down to the bottom. I have an iPad here that allows me to choose different overlays, and so I can overlay it to the left and so then use it over here. I can do it and switch it back over to the right, or I can just have it overlay all together and I can put it wherever that I want. All right, and so going back to this, let's say we're interested in what the z value is for 250. So we have 250 minus mu, which is 200, all over the standard deviation, which is 50. Okay, I chose one that most of us can do in our heads, perhaps. And so 250 minus 200 is 50. 50 divided by 50. And again, not to confuse people, that isn't a 56. That's actually a 50. And so we get 1. So let's use our table to figure out what the area is that we're going to read at this spot, which is 250. Well, if we pull down our table, notice that the values on our table here are over on the left side of the curve, but we're over here on the right side of our curve. So we have to go to page 2, and so notice how I can just scroll there, right? I can hide myself or not. I'm not too worried about that, depending on how fantastic I look. I look pretty good here in the shadow behind the white anyway. And so now we have to read our table, and so when z equals 1, we go 1.00, and we get 8415. And so this area is 8415. And so what that means, if we were solving a problem, so let's see if I can slide this back out of the way. I can. What that means is if I scored 250 on an exam that had a mean of 200 and had a standard deviation, a typical spread in the data of 50, that I would have scored higher than 84.13% of the people who took that exam. That's an example of a problem that we might solve in our class. All right, so I just wanted to show you a little demonstration. I'll show some other clips, but this is some of the power. We love that we can draw pictures, and so when we're doing a graph, right? This is very hard to do on a computer live, but we can say that we're going to graph the line y equals 2/3 x minus 1. And so that tells us that we have a slope. And so we teach our slopes that that's rise over run. And we're starting when x equals 0, y equals -1. And so the point 0, -1, we rise 2 and we run 3. And so this is the line that we're creating. Okay, and so a couple different examples of how we can utilize the board.